by you immediately. Well, tell me what your plans are once you graduate UNCG. You want to be in film, you said.
The plan is to move down to Atlanta and do a lot of film work down there. Hopefully get an agent before I graduate, but if not, then I'll work towards that once I'm there. And then a year after that, my girlfriend will hopefully move there with me. And then, honestly, film is my dream. Acting is my passion, and I don't have anything else that would really take over that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that I could never get fully successful, but as long as I'm doing it, I'll be happy. And I love acting. I love the work. I love the connections that you make with people. I mean, I did this show and then I met you and now I'm on a podcast. I mean, this is really fun. Like, everything about acting is fun, even outside of the work itself and the performances, because then you meet people after the show and you get to talk with them, and then you make new friends, and then you get into a new show and you meet more people, and it's one of the most fun communities that I've ever been a part of. Because I did marching band for a long time in high school, and I didn't have a lot of fun doing that. It wasn't really driving me in any kind of way, but this theater has always been just really great to me.
Well, it's obviously it's obviously your natural niche, and I have no doubt that you will get where you want to be, and I certainly wouldn't say that you'll never be fully successful. I as Jerry says in the play many times, I have a prediction you're going to go all the way, and I think that is true of you 100%. And I'll be proud to say, when you get there, to say I knew him when. So don't forget me when you become who you're going to become, because when you are, I'm going to say, hey, do you remember when I gave you this review in community theater? I won't let you forget me. And be sure you
Absolutely.
Be sure you share the review and share the link to the podcast on your social media outlets, because as I said, I appreciate the kind words you said about my podcast, but I promise you it will do nothing to flourish your career, the few dozens of people that may hear this, but it's definitely my benefit that you're on the podcast. So
thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that, and thank you for being so kind to me. I mean, the second I met you, I felt like I'd made a friend, so that was that meant more to me than actually seeing you in the show, even though the show was amazing. It really was. And everybody was a talent. And I'm so glad that I was able to see it in the setting that I saw it in. Because, front row at a community theater where the a full house is a little less than 200, saw the play for $25, where if I had gotten a seat up front to one of the Broadway shows, it would be 6 times that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not sure it would have been as good as this was, because when you're on Broadway, you do something like that over and over and over and over again until you have to become whatever part you're playing. Whereas in community theater, you go into it, as you said you did, knowing nothing about it, but you had to jump in feet first and figure out who this character was. And you became him and came across very, very well. In fact, I thought you were going to be, as I said earlier, a young James Taylor. As we know, James Taylor and Carole King were musical partners and great friends, and still are to this day, over 50 years. And I've seen a play. There's an original play that was done in my hometown at a dinner theater we have here that explored the friendship just of Carole King and James Taylor. And that was the perfect complement to what I went to see this weekend, which was her career at the Brill Building, which I'm so glad it was about that, because that's really what I wanted to learn about, was Carole King, the songwriter, and how they played, the characters of Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil, and the wonderful careers that they had. I mean, those four people, those two couples, their lyrics and music defined the 60s and a huge part of the 20th century as far as American popular music is concerned. And to have a play that explores them, and because they're sort of unsung heroes of rock and roll or whatever. Like, I had no idea that Barry and Cynthia wrote "We Gotta Get Out of This Place," which was kind of verging on heavy metal for the 60s. And Cynthia Weil, when she comes in, she wants to write very parochial Cole Porter, Frank Sinatra kind of tunes. She didn't want to do what was in the mainstream, but her and Barry end up carrying it well into the 60s and into the hippie movement and the Woodstock and all that was coming later, and they stayed with it. And Carole King, of course, we know what she went on to be, and Jerry Goffin was a successful writer for many years after that. So I just thought the way that it was played and how several characters were all rolled into one, the conciseness of it, the costumes were incredible. Everybody, whatever sect you wanted to split it into, with the Drifters or the Shirelles, or what was going to happen with Carol and Nick later, I kind of wanted to see where you were gonna go with her, what that was going to be. It could have spawned off into 10 different plays and 10 different good plays, and it just brilliantly crafted in that way, and very, very difficult for a community theater to pull off. So I commend you and your entire company. I mean, it was good enough for me to want to travel an hour and a half down the road, and boy, am I glad I did.
Thank you.
And I hope it will encourage out-of-towners to come and see this too. She said you got one more weekend left. Do you know? 5 more shows. Great. And I hear it's selling out very quickly.
Yep. Real fast.
Very good. That must make you feel good.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a full house.
Right. Taylor Bechtold, she is a native of Seattle who spent the last 14 years in Winston-Salem. To join her family, this was her first leading role, and she jumped into it. I mean, you would never know this was her first leading role. She very much took the reins in this.
She's absolutely incredible. Along with Gate, who plays Jerry, and Cynthia Weil and Barry Mann. When I had said earlier that everybody in the cast was insanely talented, even the people that I had named, or the people that I hadn't named, every single person was incredible.
Yes.
To be able to watch on and off stage, and I truthfully, for the first week, during the first week of rehearsals, I was like, how the heck am I supposed to catch up to these people? If that's a testament to how kind these people in the cast have been, and how nice they are, just everybody is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and like I said, everybody could have been their own show, and include yourself in that as well, sir.
Come on.
No, if you know me very long, you know that you'll learn that I don't have a lot of room in my life for BS. So, and as if I've been a critic longer than I've been anything. So I would tell you if it were otherwise, and I don't think you would be there in that company if you weren't. If they didn't know that you had what it takes to hang in there with them. Because
thank you so much.
Everybody in that show could sing. That amazes me, that you can gather that many people under the same roof and all of them can carry a tune beautifully. Impressed me and made me envious at the same time. But the guy, and you mentioned him. He sang on Broadway. The older guy that was in the Drifters. Boy, did he knock everybody out.
He is amazing.
When he,
I got to work with him in Something Rotten with the little theater where he played the priest, the preacher, Nigel's father, and that was the first time I had ever met him. He is incredible.
Yeah.
And just an absolute gem to have around. Like he's one of the most fun people to talk with.
But he stepped out in front of those young guys and he said, it was like, let me show y'all something, and he blew everybody out of the water. I mean, he was something
That's Ralph. He's incredible.
But that's what I like. That yes, Carole was the star, and it's very clear that Carole was the star. But it was not all about her. It was more of a variety show because you get to see the Drifters and the Shirelles and the Righteous Brothers, and everybody held their own. It was amazing.
I think there's something really special about when everybody in the cast is so talented. Even if you don't feel like you're there with them, it makes you want to push yourself more so that you can. So it's just a constant state of, everybody has, their own doubts about themselves, and they see that their castmates are working hard and that they're doing very good. So then they try and they work harder, and it's just everybody is lifting each other up, even if it's not intentionally. And I've loved that about working with these people. Was that I felt every single time I saw someone do something incredible on stage, I was like, oh man. Even though it's not a competition, I know I need to step my game up because that was incredible.
Yeah, because you don't ever want to reach, if you're an artist, and I include myself in that because writers are artists too. You don't ever want to reach a point where you're completely satisfied because you have no room to grow and change and
exactly.
So as an artist, whatever art you're in, you can't decide, okay, I'm going to get to this level and I'm going to stop. The chemistry from everybody from Carole and Jerry to Barry and Cynthia to the chemistry between Carole and Jerry and Barry and Cynthia as a couple, you could tell that they adored each other. They were in complete competition with each other and were destined to beat each other, but they adored each other and would go to the ends of the earth. I mean, who was there at the hospital when they knew they couldn't do anything, they couldn't get in to see Jerry, but they were out there, and it was Donnie and Cynthia and Barry, while Carole was in the hospital with Jerry, and Jerry said, Carole, why are you here? because he knows how crappy he's been to her. And she says, "You're my guy." And then at the end, when she's singing, "You Got a Friend," to Donnie and Cynthia and Barry. And, you know, to say, the most painful thing in the world to say is goodbye. And for, you know, the way that they did that, I mean, if you didn't feel that, you missed the whole point of the show. You are in two scenes. There's basically two scenes where you're involved with Taylor, who plays Carole, where you are pursuing her. And I can feel chemistry between you and her in those two scenes. And that takes up, maybe 4 minutes of the whole 2-hour play. But you know, at the end of that show, that you know that it's going to happen between Carole and Nick. Because Nick's obviously not going to give up, and Carole has no reason not to go for it now. They don't show it in the play. So it's interesting to know that they told you that Nick was an amalgamation of the 4 husbands she had. Because unfortunately, none of them worked out for her. But Jerry Goffin was the same way, married 4 times. And it just, that's hard when you know the end of the story and how it turned out, and it's just like, you know, that's hard. But it was heartwarming to know that Barry and Cynthia were married for 50 years, even though she resisted for so many years with Barry, because Barry was a ladies' man, you know, didn't want to give it up, and then it turned into Jerry was all about Carole, and then he winds up being the ladies' man while he's married to her, which was not cool at all. And
not at all.
Not cool at all.
For shame.
Right. Yeah, you wanted to deck poor Gate by the end of the show.
I remember he and I, like, there's so many jokes that we make in the dressing room of, like,
right.
You know, Gate, I'm gonna be honest, I'm really uncomfortable with what you're doing on stage. I mean, how can you treat Carole so cruelly?
Right.
It's every time. It's just really funny. Because he plays Jerry very well.
Yes, he does.
He's not like Jerry at all. He's such a nice guy, and so it's really funny to like, you see him on stage, and then as soon as he gets backstage, he's all smiles, and it's really funny.
Well, please tell the cast, if you will, please share with as many of them as you can my review, because I was truly so impressed by all of them, so happy to be there, so happy to have seen the show, so glad I could see it in the setting that I saw it in. I was very moved and touched by all of them. So when I get this posted to YouTube, share this podcast with them, share the review with them. Let them know that I'm really glad I made the journey from Whitfield, Virginia to Winston-Salem to see this show.
Thank you so much.
It was worth waiting 10 years to see. And I told
Thank you for coming.
Oh, I told you 20 minutes, and you've given me 3 times that, and
no worries.
And I'm so grateful. Like I said, it was a thrill to meet you, and I hope that we can stay in touch during your career, because I can't wait to see what great things you're going to do. And
thank you so much, and absolutely.
So you did see the review, right? You've read it?
Yes, I did. I read it.
So hope that it was.
Thank you so much for saying that I turned every female head in the audience. Liz, who's my girlfriend, she really loved that.
I'm pretty sure that you did.
She loved that.
Just saying, you have that. You definitely have that charisma.
Thank you.
Makes us.
That really means a lot.
So your girlfriend appreciated that then.
Yeah, she laughed at that.
Good.
She thought it was funny.
And thank you very much for your time, Noah. You're a special guy, and you're going far. So
thank you so much, Zach. This
I'm
was a lot of fun.